Councillor? Yeah, Councillor Sarroff.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, I don't support your resolution because this is a resolution that's looking for a way out. I would prefer to see a resolution that says, thanks for facilitating what we've asked for, and here's a whole series of initiatives that we need to put in place to make that resolution that we asked for and the community and address the community's concern by taking back the water business, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor,
please,
if I could...
Please, councillors.
If I could just have a couple of minutes, I'm sure Councillor Young can elaborate on this this resolution. But if I could also say, Mr Mayor, you did mention that the Chair of Finance has taken the irresponsible position of accepting the full cost of dismantling the water utility. Unfortunately, and I have taken this up with the reporter this morning, that I have not indicated to the reporter that I would support the $100 million cost associated with the dismantling of the body. In actual fact, my comments were criticising the made-up figure of $100 million, and here we are today. We've heard another figure, the $200 million figure coming out from the Logan City, and no doubt these figures will be flagged as a stalling tactic. There is no doubt in my mind, Mr Mayor, that councils would prefer to maintain the status quo, receive their financial returns, and do exactly what many councils have been doing, and something that you've done really well with, Mr Mayor, that is trying to shift the blame on someone else. My view, Mr Mayor, is that the main objectives that we were trying to achieve over the last few weeks was to ensure that the water and wastewater charges are reduced. And there has been three main approaches to that. One of it was to write to all connects and ask them to ensure that the water prices and wastewater prices are capped to CPI. And guess what, Mr Mayor? We got that outcome. But are we happy with that? Doesn't seem to be the focus of our discussion. But that is one outcome that is a positive outcome to our community. The second outcome that we were trying to achieve is to get the state government to also do the same with their bulk charges. Did we get that outcome? No. Should we be putting our energy into targeting the state to ensure that they respond by having those bulk charges reduced? Yes, that's where our energy should be put in. Instead of a resolution now where we're going to go out and try and find every excuse to come back to council and say this dismantling of All Connects isn't going to happen. And the third objective that we were aiming at in responding to our community was to seek to dismantle All Connects. This council's already moved a resolution of no confidence in the board. The state government has delivered that objective, Mr Mayor, the objective of dismantling All Connects. And when I read the resolution, and in number 1, your resolution says, as a matter of urgency, that we investigate with the CEOs of the participating councils within All Connects, together with the All Connects executive officers, all ramifications of either recreating Gold Coast Water to take back all the assets and any of the liabilities. But when you go to your resolution that you moved on the 14th of March this year, all you did is you said, Mr Mayor, all the council did is to write to the state government and the opposition and ask them for immediate legislation reform to enable All Connects to be disbanded. That's all you've asked. You didn't mention anything about the cost. No mentions of the cost whatsoever. And for any council to suggest there isn't going to be a cost associated with dismantling the body, then I would suggest, it's very naive. The bottom line is there would be a cost. And the bottom line is we should be chasing the state government to pick up that cost. But we asked the state to change the legislation to allow the dismantling of All Connects. We've got it, and then what we do, we come back here into the council chambers and we say, how can we find all the reasons why we shouldn't dismantle All Connects? And I'll tell you why, Mr Mayor, because if you go to your second recommendation, it says for the Chief Executive Officer to report on the costs involved with the accommodation and equipment leases that would need to be taken over or paid out. And I think maybe in your previous resolution you were talking about the long-term office space and ESD leases. Well, Mr Mayor, it doesn't matter whether it's going to be leases within the Rocket or leases within or space within the Taj Mahal. It's still space that will come with a cost. But you've made sure you put that in there as an obstacle. Obstacle 2, have a look at it. Information technology requirements. Well, again, whether you're in the Rocket or whether you're in the Taj Mahal, there's information technology.
Point of order, Mr Mayor. Point of order. Councillor Sarroff appears to be referring to the council accommodation as the Taj Mahal. Now that is inappropriate language, and I would ask him to cease doing that.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Can they hear us?
This stage?
No, I'll
So
finish.
who are you referring to as Taj Mahal, Councillor?
Mr Mayor, I'll finish with the Taj Mahal anyway. So we're getting to the next point. Mr Mayor, the next point, I think it was 2D, that the capital works program that would need to be assumed and or maybe needed to be contracted, and I don't know what this language is all about, but if we're talking about the capital works program, again, Mr Mayor, regardless of whether it's Gold Coast Water running their business or All Connects or any other third entity, there would be a capital works program and you would work with that, Mr Mayor. So the point that I make is we've come back here with resolutions that appear to be, again, a stall tactic. We're looking for information to build up a case to move away from the main focus, and that is to take back that water business and to change the focus on the water entity providing that essential service, as opposed to, and I know Councillor Young criticised me today, but instead of the focus being a commercial focus and a focus on big bucks. And we can do that if we do bring it back, Mr Mayor, to the Gold Coast City control. We can do that because then we don't have to go and get the blessing of other councils to set the water and wastewater charges where we believe it is acceptable to our community. But we come back with a resolution, Mr Mayor, that isn't serious about dismantling the water utility. And my view is that the resolution that we should be putting together today is the resolution that confirms our decision to have that divorce. Yes. That's what we should be doing in the first instance. Yes. Thank you very much. We've asked for it. You've given it to us. We are going to proceed down that track, and there's a will to do it, and our main objective is to achieve that. Our main objective is to then go back to the state and ask the state to pay for the dismantling, and at worst, to ask them to share the cost of dismantling it. And Mr Mayor, John Sherry has indicated, and this wasn't any firm figure, but his indication to me a few days ago that the cost of dismantling will be more in the order of about $40 million. Yes. Not the $100 million, which seems to factor in the cost of setting up the organisation. But we don't know what is going to be the cost, because at this point in time, Mr Mayor, we're looking to find everything else that we can package to move away from having that divorce. Then we should be making every effort that we can, Mr Mayor, to establish the estimated cost. And I think that is a good enough start, the estimated cost. And it shouldn't be too difficult to find out what contracts have been put in place. And more importantly, I think we should also be flagging to all connects to be wary about entering into new contracts and committing the council in the event we then 100% decide to go ahead with the divorce. But with that in mind, Mr Mayor, I won't support the resolution, because I believe that the discussion is already underway between the councils and the CEOs of the participating councils. We're already seeing arguments that are being presented about why we shouldn't have this, the dismantling of the Water Authority. And what I suggest, Mr Mayor, is when we do move resolutions, if we have any doubt, because if you recall, Mr Mayor, when that resolution was put out, I said, I called on the CEO and the Director of the Water Reform to be in attendance so that these ramifications you're asking about today could be presented to the council, so that we're not going out there into the community and giving them false hope. So today what you're doing, Mr Mayor, you're looking for excuses. That's all they are. They're excuses, because the bottom line is we don't want a divorce, Mr. Mayor. We want to hang on to this, and we want to have an opportunity to blame them for the increases and continue to allow the returns to underpin our budgets.
Anyone want to answer that?
I'm just going to go to the bathroom.
CEO, do you want to make any comments?